Hey everybody, I'm Bill. This is Zap. How's it going today, Zap?
Hello, Happy New Year to you, Bill.
Happy New Year to you. Today is January 4th, 2017. We're not actually on New Year's, but this is episode 59 of Run, Jump, Stomp, which is a podcast about stuff. So, what's going on with you today, man? Do you have a good break? We haven't actually talked in like 2 weeks.
No, we'd forgotten who each other was. Yeah, it was good. Work was hectic up to Christmas Eve and then died. It was like Christmas never existed. And I had 3 days off and enjoyed it. Yeah, it was lovely. What about yourself?
We had people over here every single day. Like, it was absolute anarchy. We only had Sunday and Monday where we didn't have people over. So I ate lots and lots of food that I should not be eating. Because it was just too much for me to ask my wife to cook or for me to cook to have all these people over. So we were just ordering pizza or subs or Chinese food or whatever, or cheese and crackers, and it just got to be crazy. So, that's it. But anyway, we are here to do a show. We're going to talk about video games today, and we will be right back after this quick intro. All right, and I forgot that we usually talk about the little main articles. So the first story for today, which we'll just skip the part where we read the articles, I guess, because my son let the cat in here, and the cat is. My wife has some presents wrapped behind the green screen here, and I didn't want the cat to jump on there and claw them apart because that's how cats are. So I got up in the middle of that, and I got distracted. I'm very distractible today. Anyway, so first story today. What is the first MMO that you ever played, Zap?
This is going to come as a surprise. Guild Wars 2. Yep,
Oh,
I'm quite a very recent player to the MMO scene. I know about past MMOs, but I never really played MMOs till I really got involved in Guild Wars 2.
Oh, okay. All right. The first MMO that I played was Ultima Online, and today's story is not about that, but it's about a really old MMO. This is one that was backed by Microsoft, and it was supposed to come out before EverQuest did, but they delayed it. And because they delayed it, EverQuest got like a jump on them. My buddy was playing EverQuest, and I was playing this game. This is called Asheron's Call. And it's finally being shut down 17 years later. And that makes me feel really old to say. This game was 17 years old. It had a really odd way to play. Very different from other MMOs. Basically, you leveled up your level, but you also leveled up in skills. Kind of like in Elder Scrolls games. And it also had this weird, really interesting. They didn't have guilds. They had these networks, like a pyramid scheme for experience, basically.
Right. Okay.
If you could have one person above you and 12 people below you, and so the people above you were called, I think, mentors, and the people below you were called vassals. So if you were at the top of this pyramid, then all of the people who were below you or in your group would feed XP upwards into this system, and then that person would level up really quick, and then they could use that XP to get to improve like guild halls and stuff. It was really interesting way to play, and I always thought it was really neat, but now it's being shut down after 17 years, and I kind of want to play it again, and I know that if I did, I would just be disappointed, but Asheron's Call was really cool. I played a character, and if anybody's out there who ever ran into me, I had 2 characters. One was a caster called Plays with Matches, and the other one was they had a spear guy. I don't know what the spear guy was called, but his name was Runs with Scissors. and I had a lot of fun playing that game. And it's a shame that it failed. I just want to point out, this is really funny, that Asheron's Call actually had a sequel called Asheron's Call 2 that got shut down before Asheron's Call did. Asheron's Call 2 was really weird. There were no NPCs in the game. So everything was player to player and player to monster,
okay.
but there were no, like,
Yeah.
you could not go in to a store and buy stuff or sell stuff. You had to just trade with the other players, which was really neat. But Asheron's Call, it's gone now. And I think that before it goes, I think you should check it out just to say that you have, because it's neat.
I'm already on the website. I'm gonna hit downloads. I'm gonna download it and stream it.
Oh, you're going to stream it.
Yeah, we're gonna take a look, because I think we need to pay homage to this kind of MMO. It looks ridiculous. Like I'm gonna play it for about 5 minutes and look at it and go, right, that's done. But I think I will. I'm trying to find out when they're talking about the servers being shut down.
Yeah, when I saw it, I was on my phone, so I didn't actually get to link to the story. I forgot to link to the story. I just added it to the show notes when I read it, and then I went and found a YouTube video to play in the background.
Yeah, of course.
Very slow combat.
So, yeah, I've just said. I mean, it's all there. So I'll have to have a look. We'll see what we can do.
All right, let's jump into the next story. What do you got for us?
Crytek. You heard of this little company, Funjump? They've been in some muddy water.
Far Cry guys, right?
No, they're the Crisis guys.
Crisis. Yeah. Okay.
But, they've been a bit in muddy water over the Christmas period. I think November they really started. They weren't paying people's wages, and people started speculating that they were on the verge of being shut down. And then a couple other things happened over the course of Christmas, and they got shut down. Crytek closed the doors. That was it. And all of a sudden, I mean, I was quite sad because I played Crisis. I don't know if you've ever played any of the Crisis games back in the day.
I don't think that I mean, I know that like my roommate at one point had I think maybe the first one or the second one. It's a first person shooter, right?
Yeah. So Crisis back in the day, I say back in the day like it's a really old game, but Crisis was classed as a game that would kill your PC.
Yeah. It was the thing that was like, look at how beautiful a game can be, even though you can't really run it.
Yeah. They would, Crisis, the first Crisis released in 2007, it was a hit. It was a really big hit, and they kind of went off the boil with 2 and 3. It had quite a solid story. It wasn't a bad game, and people could actually play it about 3 or 4 years after it was released. They were talking systems at a time where you had to spend thousands of pounds on them just to get the graphics card good enough to be able to play these games. So once people got to be able to play it, they realised it was a good game. But Crytek themselves, I think this isn't the first time when they were getting into muddy water. They weren't paying wages. It was getting pretty nasty. So they shut down. And as I was saying, I a little bit of a sad tear for them, because I think Crisis was a solid game and could go for it. But they come back as an indie developer called Black Sea Games. And apparently they're working on a project. So Black Sea Games apparently have been established since November, which kind of says that Crytek were having a lot of problems before then. So I get worried in one sense. You kind of wonder who's coming over from like Crytek, where the bad seeds were, where wages
So
are
they just absorbing them, or are they shutting them down completely and firing everybody?
That's some of the questions that still haven't been answered. From what the article says is, Crytek closed and reborn as independent developer. So it doesn't say if that they all got fired and then some of them made a new studio, or
okay.
it's not like Kojima and Konami, where Konami when Kojima fell out and Kojima then went and set up his own studio. It's surrounding mystery, and I just fear that maybe I'm looking at it a little bit too deep, where you've got one company that couldn't pay wages, and now it's been reborn as an independent studio. Are you going to get 4, 5, 6 years down the line, And again, you've got a game studio that can't pay wages, are going to get shut down again. This rolling cycle. I just hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's a this is an aside, but as a I live in a rural area,
Hmm.
and what we tend to see is that, and this is not related to gaming, but you kind of what we tend to see is that like families will they can't pay the rent, so they move to a new place, and so then then they change school districts, and then a couple of months go by, and then they'll come back because they couldn't pay rent again, so they got a new place, and this kind of
Hmm.
feels like the same thing with Black Sea, where they can't pay their wages, so they're going to make a new company, and hopefully they do it right. But what if it's the same managers? I mean, it all depends on what's the problem. Is the problem because the
Yeah,
managers weren't doing things right, or is the problem something else? And there's no way for us to really know. But it's interesting that it's that they're going off. And what was the last game that the Black Sea portion of
well,
Crytek
Black
made?
Sea made a game back in 2008 called World Shift, but they've had other things under. And you were correct. Far Cry was actually done under the first Far Cry was done under Crytek, which I didn't know about. I thought it was all done by Ubisoft. But
Nailed it.
Ubisoft must have taken. Yeah, you got 1 out of 3, so that isn't bad. All right, I won't give you the other two. That's 1 point. But he also did one of my favourite shooters of all time on the PS2. Now we're going back a few. Time Splitters was done by I believe was done by Free Radical, a subsidiary of Crytek. And Time Splitters 4 got cancelled. There's this massive hype that Time Splitters 4 was coming to the PS4 and all this sort of stuff, and then it was the first big game to be cancelled by Crytek. So and that was a few years back as well, actually. So we'll see. We'll have to keep an eye on it. It'll be one of them stories that we can watch closely throughout the year.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
as Snow Goes Ham says in chat, Time Splitters is a classic. It
I
is
never played it, so it's a shooter. I always I
yeah.
don't know what game I'm thinking of. There was a game that had something to do with time something, and it was like a side scroller.
No. Time Splitters was the first ever first-person shooter. I'm going to try and find a video of some gameplay. It's ridiculous. Um, but it's great. It was great. It was really really good. I can't explain it. It's just a third-person shooter, kind of like the GoldenEye era sort of thing. Kind of step up from that, and had some really quirky characters, and it really had a lot going for it. And it's just a shame that the Time Splitters 4 never got developed. So
I'm watching a video of it now. I love that it shows the gun, but the guy clearly has no
yeah,
left hand to hold up the stock of the gun. That's awesome.
it was Time Splitters. That's Time Splitters 2. I mean, and it just got. It was kind of paid homage to all like some of the shooters that had been out, GoldenEye and Doom and Duke Nukem. It really did pay homage to some really good series, and it was very good. It was very very good. And it had 4-player co-op. So you got 4 of your mates round, and you were there. 4-player split screen. Sorry, that was 4-player split screen. So you had like a box, no bigger than the box that we've got as our record, our face cam box
Right.
I had 4 of those on a screen with them kind of
And
graphics.
it wasn't screens like they were today. It was a little
No,
tiny
no, no, no.
screen.
Yeah, or it was a big box, the big tube tellies. So yeah,
Right.
it was great. It was great. So there you go.
All right. The next story on the docket for today is a Konami related story, which would surprise most people because Konami's kind of gotten away from making games. And apparently, the guys behind Adventure Time, which I don't watch, but my son and my wife, that's their show. They watch Adventure Time, and they love it so much so that my wife just recently. She got a very nice sewing machine for Christmas, and she used it to make him like this cool pillowcase. It had his name stitched into it, and it's all Adventure Time stuff.
Yeah,
So
my son watches that.
it's very cool. And apparently, the creators of Adventure Time, their next project might be a Castlevania cartoon. Now, I know that you never had an NES. So, have
Uh,
you played Castlevania games?
yeah, no, I did years ago. I had a SNES. The SNES was like my first game console. But I never played Castlevania.
Okay.
That
So,
was I've never played. I played Castlevania type games, but I've never played the actual Castlevania.
gotcha. Okay. Well, I mean, it's the game that pretty much spawned the genre. People argue whether or not Metroid or Castlevania is the one that actually spawned the genre, but either way, I'm really interested in this. I think that I've been in the room when Adventure Time is on, and I think that the writers for that show are very clever. So
Yeah,
the idea that they are doing something based on Castlevania is very cool. I hope that they can get the rights to it. I mean, because right now, Konami isn't really doing new games. They've been basically making like pachinko games, which is like you drop a ball and it bounces before it lands in a thing.
mm,
So I want this, and I want to watch this, and I don't want it to be bloody and gory. I want it to be something that I could sit down and watch with my son. But I also don't
yeah.
want it
I
to be
understand.
something where only my son would be interested in it, and I wouldn't really be interested in it. I want it to be the thing for me and him that, like, the Clone Wars. Like, he and I will sit down and watch the Clone Wars or Star Wars Rebels, and we'll watch that together as a family. And we all three of us really enjoy it. Or Avatar: The Last Airbender, an amazing show. And like, my wife loves Adventure Time. I've never actually sat down to watch it. That's when they do that. I'm usually doing something else. But I really hope that's something that we get to see, because right now the only cartoon version of Castlevania we've ever had is Simon Belmont in Captain N, the Game Master. Have you ever seen that?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you've never seen Captain N, the Game Master. Okay, I'm gonna find a video. There we go. The Game Master and videos. This is horrendously bad. Okay, really, really bad. I forgot to click on videos. Here we go. All right, so this is going to be on the screen for people to watch. Basically, there's this kid in the 90s, and he's playing Punch Out, and his TV captures him and his dog and pulls him into the TV, where he is trapped in the world filled with Nintendo characters. The guy right there. Oh, hold on. Let me go back. Frame. The guy right here on the right-hand side with the blonde hair, that's supposed to be Simon Belmont, and he is a complete doofus. Everybody hates him. And then this guy in the green is supposed to be Mega Man. It's really bad, but it was a show I loved when I was a kid. As an adult, I understand that it's a bad show, and this is what I hope that we don't get. And the idea that the guys behind Adventure Time are behind this, that tells me it is probably going to be something cool.
Yeah, yeah. Just when you said the word Konami, I just shut down. That's it. Done.
Well, but they're
You
not
know,
making it. Konami's not making it. It's
no,
Adventure Time people.
no, they're just more interested in their pachinko machines.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's another story I could rant about Konami, just like I could rant about other things. Anyway,
I know, and everybody wants a sequel. Everybody wants a new Castlevania game. At least I know you don't care, but I really want a new Castlevania game, and it's a shame that they're just not interested in doing it, and they're sitting on the property.
yeah, it was same with the Fox engine for Metal Gear. You know, that's obviously Konami's engine. I mean, it was developed by Kojima and his team.
You know,
Obviously, Konami owns the rights. I
speaking
just
of,
wish,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
that Konami would just go, okay, well, look, we know that the fans love this franchise. We know that Metal Gear 5, you know, I can't say too much because there might be people in chat that are either playing it or they've got it for Christmas or they're looking at it. but as such a Metal Gear fan, and it's not just I don't just do it because Kojima, I think, is one of the most wonderful developers out there. But Metal Gear is a series I grew up with, like yourself, Nintendo stuff and things like that. And it frustrates me as a fan of computer games in general that Konami are just going to everyone, and it's like, and you've got the same with Castlevania. They basically come out and said, look, no more AAA titles. And it's really sad in my eyes.
Yeah. Gosh, what was I going to say? Oh, I can't remember now. That's okay. It doesn't matter. Let's move on to the next story. What is it all about?
It's about the UK's biggest selling games and consoles in 2016. I thought, well, why not? Let's do the first show with a little bit of a review of last year and how well things sell. And this might come as a surprise to people, or it might not. The PS4 was confirmed as the UK's best-selling console.
All right.
But physical game sales dropped significantly, which means people are moving over to the download scene because it is more convenient. And obviously, I don't know about yourself. And go on.
Let me ask you a question. Okay, so I got a PS4 for Christmas, which I'm really happy about. I've been having a lot of fun playing it.
Welcome to the real console.
Okay, listen, back off. Nintendo's awesome, but that's beside the point. So the PS4, I had some money left over from my birthday, and I was like, I'm going to go pick up Final Fantasy 15. And they were having a sale on the PlayStation Store, and I said to the guy at GameStop, I said, "Listen, I want the disc because I only got the 500 gigabyte version of the PS4."
Okay.
And I was like, "I want the disc," and the guy was like, "Oh, okay, cool. I'll match." They matched the price
that's cool.
that Sony was having. I was like, "Awesome!" So, and I even got the Day One edition, whatever the hell that means. It comes with like some sword or something. I don't care.
You will care. Trust me.
Okay, so it came with anyway. I got the Day One edition. I took it home, and somebody I was reading
I know what
somewhere.
you're about to say.
Did I do I still have to download the whole game onto?
You have to download parts of Kingsglaive.
So that's it. I'm not actually downloading the whole game.
No, you're downloading part of the game. I mean, the biggest issue I have with when it says that physical games, going back, obviously tying this in with the story, just physical games sales drop significantly. Well, there is a reason why, and you just explained why. Because games are too big for a Blu-ray disc. I mean, you probably had, I don't know how big your download was. Mine was for Final Fantasy 15. I think it took a half an hour, 45 minutes, something stupid, before I could even play the damn game. There was some Kingsglaive stuff because it ties the story in. But I will still say go watch Kingsglaive because, Christ almighty, there's bits of the story that are missing, without watching Kingsglaive. But what they put in helps. And there's also the Day One patch, and games now, it's even with PC, they all come with Day One patches. And that was like 10 gig. So, and I will say this as well, as a person who I will give you a recommendation, go out and get a 2.5-inch laptop hard drive and upgrade it as soon as you can to a terabyte.
I have a 4 terabyte drive hooked up to the Wii U.
Do you? Right. Okay. So yeah,
so I can just cannibalize that once we get the Switch. So I'm in no rush to do that.
Yeah, but games are getting bigger, and physical game sales drop. Well, there's no wonder because it's easy to download a damn game because it's there. It's there to play. But are you happy with the PS4? You say?
The controller. I am absolutely surprised that I like this controller because I did not like the controller for the for the PlayStation 2. Right. I didn't like it at all. I didn't like the sticks. You know what impresses me most about this controller? I mean, I still think the Steam controller is vastly superior in many ways for most games. But there's some games where you want to have a right stick.
Yeah.
The thing that surprised me the most is the triggers. These triggers down here, they feel fantastic. These triggers have just the right amount of, hey, you are not pushing me down. They have just the right amount of resistance on them, and I think that this is a really comfortable controller.
They've got fatter over the years. The controllers, they've got bigger. You line it up against a PS3 controller or a PS2 controller, they have got bigger.
Yeah. The thing about
they
the
actually
PS2 controller I didn't like was the sticks. I didn't like how they felt. And this
yeah.
is like it's much better than it was, but it's still not as good as this. This has the best stick that I've ever used on a controller. The Steam controller I'm holding up now for those of you listening to the audio version. It has the right amount of resistance. It has this grippy tread around the outside of the stick, and when you can really feel that really well. Whereas the PS4 controller, or the DualShock 4, I guess. I don't know why they got to have a different name for it. It's got like a raised thing around the edge, which is good, but there's not like a grippy texture to it, and I think that the grippy texture is way better. I will say this, and I'm not going to rant about it or rail about it for any amount of time, but for crying out loud, can we just get everybody to agree where the friggin' X button goes? Because I was playing, a buddy of mine loaned me the Uncharted collection.
Nice.
Because I got my PS4 came with Uncharted 4, and I'm not going to play it until I've played the other ones, right?
No, don't. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm playing Uncharted, and it's like push X to vault over. Whoops, I hit my microphone. Sorry if that came through. Push X to vault over this wall in front of me because I'm hiding behind cover. And push X to vault behind cover, and I instinctively push the square button because that's where X is on my Steam controller. So Nathan Drake, he's hiding behind cover, and then he stands up and throws a punch at the air, and I'm like, no, damn it, stop doing that, for crying out loud. So I need Nintendo, Sony, Valve, and Microsoft all to just agree to everybody do the same damn thing and put the X in one spot. I don't care where it is. Everybody use the same thing because it's driving me crazy. I know it's called a cross, not an X. I know, Snow.
But it goes to the bottom. There's only one way to put it.
Honestly, no. You want to know where it goes? It goes where Nintendo put it back when they invented the damn thing on the Super Nintendo. It goes on the top because Nintendo puts it on the top. Xbox and Steam put it on the side, and PlayStation puts it on the bottom. And all four of those companies suck for not agreeing on it.
It goes to the bottom. That's the way it goes. But we'll have to, when we've got a bit more time in the next couple of weeks, we'll have to have a real chat about the console and see how you're getting on with it. I'll give you all the recommendations for the PS4 that I can. It's well worth the purchase. It's a great console, and it's just a nice system. It really is. But the story itself is the PS4 is confirmed as the UK's best-selling console, which didn't surprise me actually. The PS4 has always been on the up, and the best-selling games was FIFA, beating Call of Duty and Battlefield. So there you go. That is what 2016 says about games and consoles.
All right, and I just checked. It looks like. I'm trying to see who had the most sales in the U.S. I can't find it. Like I found, like top one said PlayStation 4. The second link from Google says Xbox One. So I don't know which one's correct.
Yeah, no, I know. So I found this one for the UK, but a lot of like games news and things. They always say, "Oh, we're looking at the UK." It's like, well, what about everywhere else? There are other countries in the world that have consoles, but anyway. So there you go. So that's 2006. That's the last of 2016.
All right. What's this? Oh, okay. You have another story linked to the same thing?
Oh, that's just the same stuff. It's all
just another source.
Yeah, okay. No, it's the same source. It just gives you the different bit of information.
Oh, okay. All right. The next story is that. You're a PlayStation guy, so you definitely played the original Tomb Raider back in the day, right?
Yeah, of course. I played Tomb Raider 1. It scared the hell out of me.
Right. Yeah. Well,
Well, I'm
yeah.
not
I
kidding.
mean, I was in the army at the time when that game came out, and it blew our minds what the PlayStation could do at the time. But
Yeah.
Tomb Raider was a really cool game, and then it got a whole lot cooler when they rebooted it a few years back. Have you played the newer ones?
I played the reboot. I haven't played the latest one.
All right, I'm the
Um,
same way as you. I haven't played the latest one, but I played the reboot.
yeah. I
And it's written like these games are fantastically written, very well voice acted, and the mocap is extremely good. And
Yeah.
I feel like the Tomb Raider games are exceedingly well made. But apparently the writer, who I just found out today was Rihanna Pratchett, who is Terry Pratchett's daughter, no longer will be working on the series. So Crystal Dynamics and Pratchett both announced this on the Tomb Raider Twitter account. Said that Rihanna Pratchett are announcing that she is off to pursue new adventures apart from Tomb Raider. So we are no longer going to have the same writer. And I really like that they had one writer for the game.
Yeah.
You know, like they had a main writer. It wasn't written by committee, and I really liked the reboot. And I haven't tried the new one yet, and I think that I will probably get it. But
Yeah.
they're going to need a new writer because the writer's gone. I wonder if this means that we're going to start getting more written by committee kind of stuff, or if they're going to say, hey, look at what we already did. We need to do that again. Let's find one person to be the visionary in charge of the writing. What do you think about this,
Yeah.
Max?
I can't agree with that. It always does when you hear of even just in like shows in general, in TV shows or movie franchises, when you hear that the main writers are off to venture into something new, you kind of sit there and go, oh, okay, well, I liked how it was, thanks. Can you just finish the series first and then clear off? Because I think they are, they've got at least another game on the way. I think there is definitely another Tomb Raider coming in the next year or so. So
Yeah.
it's like you just wonder if the actual writing is going to be of the same standard. And let's be honest, Rihanna Pratchett had a great figure to go to if she ever needed help with
Yeah.
writing. She had one of. I mean, I've read some of his books and they're amazing. So the whole that worries me because the reboot that I played is fantastic. It's so well written and such an engrossing story. And I've heard the second one is exactly the same with the writing and the story. So yeah, that kind of it worries me in what sense that will they just churn out a story? Or will it be generic and will it be what everyone sees and it's just like, you know what?
Yeah,
Don't want
one
that.
thing that I
Don't want
worry
that.
about with this is I hope that they don't do what I've seen so many franchises do, and that's where you put out a new one every year. Every year there's a new one. Every year there's a new Call of Duty. Every year there's a new Madden. I mean, I understand why there's a new Madden or FIFA or whatever, but honestly, you know what? I take that back. I don't understand why they do that. Just sell a roster update to me for $10. I don't need to rebuy the game every year. Sell me a roster update for your sports games. And then take that time to really put some innovation into your game instead of reselling me the same game, where, especially with those sports games, you feel like I have to buy the next one. Because if I don't buy the next one, the servers are not going to have anybody on them for me to play with. So I always have to upgrade. And it's same thing with like the Call of Duties. Now, this is a single player game, and they did not have the Rise of the Tomb Raider come out the next year after that Tomb Raider reboot. And if they did, I guarantee it would have sold really, really well because it sold fantastically whether it was good or not. It would have sold really well because of the Tomb Raider name. And I like that they showed some restraint and they held back and they didn't try and sell it right away. They took some time to make a good game. And now that they've lost their head writer, I hope that the suits don't get involved and they're like, hey, listen, we need to start putting these out faster. How about we hire 3 or 4 writers to fill in the place of Rihanna Pratchett, who, and for those of you that don't know, Terry Pratchett is a wildly prolific fantasy author. When I was younger, I worked in a bookstore. Actually, I worked in a bookstore in high school. And or was it? Well, okay, I worked in a bookstore in high school, but I also worked in a bookstore like when I was in college. And I can't remember which time that the Terry Pratchett novels were like everywhere, but you're right. If Rihanna had any problems saying, listen, I can't seem to come up with a way to do anything with this, maybe they went to their parents. Maybe they learned how to write from Terry Pratchett, which is a good thing. So I just hope they don't go to a committee.
Yeah, I mean, it's on a side note. I just checked the Uncharted series. In the day, the Uncharted series is the biggest competition to the Tomb Raider series. In the day,
Yes.
Nathan Drake is the male Tomb Raider, and that was written by. It had one person at the top of 150 people. So 150 people who created the series, but it was led by one person. So, I mean, hopefully they can kind of go with that route. As long as there's that one person in charge, steering the story, keeping everybody on in the way it needs to go, then maybe it'll be all right. But again, kind of scary that the main writer's gone and Suit's going to be going. Well, we got to churn out another game. The fans want more. Let's do it. So we. Well,
Yeah, and
scares
we
me.
could always hope. We could always hope that they had this planned ahead of time and were grooming the next head writer. And I'm not saying that Rihanna Pratchett was sitting there, by herself with a freaking typewriter, getting everything ready.
Room.
I know that they probably had that she probably had people working for her. I'm just saying it's a shame that we lost such a fantastic writer. And you said that 150 people wrote Uncharted. The first thing that I noticed about Uncharted was the writing was hilarious and awesome. So
Yep.
Maybe this is much to do about nothing, but I bring it up because I'm a fan of the new Lara Croft games. I say Laura, I meant to say Lara, because otherwise, she'll come into my house and beat the crap out of me.
She'll do a handstand first, and then she'll beat the crap out of you.
Right. Why don't you tell us about the next story while I try and wrangle this cat out of my room? I'm listening.
Well, it's just more of a public service announcement. If you haven't got any Assassin's Creed games, firstly, I'd wonder why, and two, they're all cheap. Part of Humble Bundle. So if you are in the mood for some Assassin's Creed, just do remember that after about 3, they become pretty pointless. The last one, they get very repetitive. If you like that kind of gameplay, they are good games, and the series always starting off well. They are very good. Go out and get them. They're on Humble Bundle, and for $15, I think it's saying here 9 games for $15. So in the UK, we're talking about 12 quid. So guys, Assassin's Creed for that much, go out and get it.
Now I forget who makes Assassin's Creed. Is it Ubisoft?
It's Ubisoft.
Okay, so
Yeah.
does that mean I have to have a separate launcher?
That's the next thing I was going to check was, usually the Humble Bundle. Yeah, usually they work through Steam, but you will need Uplay because I have Uplay games on my Steam account, and then you have to have Uplay. It's like, can we just agree? I think we're going to have a rant about launches next week, Run Job, because it's doing my head in. Because now apparently Bethesda completely sidewinded on the. They're bringing out a launcher so Skyrim can launch it from that.
Oh man, see, this is not something that I want. I do not want that at all. I already have Steam running all the time. I just want to leave one thing running. I don't want. See, here's the problem. I go ahead and I start playing a game or something, and sometimes I'm like, what is going on with this lag? Oh, Steam is downloading something. All right. Now, and this isn't something that happens when I'm playing something on Steam, because Steam knows, oh, hey, he's playing a game. Let's not download anything right now. But if I'm playing something like Overwatch or something, and Steam starts downloading a bunch of crap, because I tell it, always update my stuff, which is a good thing to do, because if it's always updated, then when I sit down to play, I don't have to hit the button and I'm like, oh, okay, I got to sit around and wait for it to download.
Yeah.
I cannot stand the idea that I have to have multiple launchers on my computer. It drives me crazy.
Tell me about it. I play the Division, and I've got on Uplay at the minute. They have got an Assassin's Creed for free, which is Assassin's Creed 3. So if you have got Uplay on there, go and get free Assassin's Creed number 3, which is the best one in the series, in my opinion. But that's not what I was going to say. I just drives me mad that I've got to have Uplay open. I've got to have Battle.net open. I've got to have Steam open. I've then got to apparently have a Bethesda launcher, because Bethesda aren't happy to have their game in Steam. I just stop. Please stop.
I mean, part of me wants to go back to the days where we just went into a store and bought a game, but I don't want to go to a store and buy a game.
No, it's cold outside. Damn it.
It is cold out. You don't even know how cold. You don't understand. You live in England. I don't want to hear about cold. You don't understand.
I work in a fridge most of my day. Leave it out.
All right, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. It is. Well, that's cold inside though. All right, launchers aside, I won't buy this because I don't want to install Uplay on my system.
That's fair enough.
In fact, I did see I was looking for it while you were talking. I was totally listening though. But I was looking for it while you were talking. I saw a picture today that somebody had drawn on Reddit, and it said, "Hi, I'm Uplay." And I can't do it justice, but if you can find it out there, it's hilarious. It said, "Hi, I'm Uplay. Install me if you want to play this game or whatever." And then he pours gasoline on the computer and sets it on fire, and then says, "It seems like we're having trouble connecting. How can I help?"
It's awful. The worst thing about Uplay is when you forget your password, right? And then you've got about a year's worth of trying to get your password back. Uplay sucks. Seriously sucks. But I can't launch The Division or Rainbow Six Siege without it. It's like, insert many swear words after I go silent.
Yeah, and I am a Steam fanboy. I am the first to admit I love Valve. I think they do a great job. But if we have anybody to blame for this, it's them. Because they did it, and everybody looked at them and said, they're not even making friggin' games anymore. They're making so much money off their launcher. Maybe we ought to make a launcher.
Oh, I forgot Origin. EA has a launcher too.
Oh, yeah. It's just there's too many of them. But hey, if you're okay with Uplay and you want to play the Assassin's Creed games, go to Humble Bundle. And guess what? You know, the best thing about Humble Bundle is you can send all the money to charity if you want. That's the one thing. I've bought so many games on Humble Bundle that I've gotten for incredibly cheap, and I've sent 90% of the money to charity, 10% to the developers. Not because I don't think the developers deserve it, but just because if they're agreeing to do this, it's because they believe that the charities deserve the money too. So I think that Humble Bundle is a fantastic way to spend your money.
But just remember, new Steam policy, in you leave a review, means your review doesn't count, but that's another story.
Yeah, I don't review games on there.
Nor do I. You're not one of them. So, all right.
All right, it seems like you've got one more?
Yeah, I got just a quick thing. There is something I'm only putting on the Run Jump Stomp. Jesus, can't speak. The Run Jump Stomp website. And I was going to do originally a review of World of Final Fantasy. Now, for my birthday, I got a 2DS, which I adore. I think it's an amazing little system. Haven't had enough time to really sit down and play it. I'm playing through Pokemon as we speak. Great game. But I want to do a versus. I want to do Pokemon versus World of Final Fantasy because essentially, deep down, they're the same game, minus some mechanics here and there. But essentially, the idea of catching creatures is all the same. Using those creatures to battle, it's all the same. And I'm going to do a video and post it to the website that's going to come out in the next couple of weeks. I'm just finishing writing the script. And it might surprise some people what I've got to say about these games, because one game is obviously the king of this genre, but one game I feel has got a better idea. But we'll leave it like that.
I don't think anybody's going to be surprised anymore. You kind of just gave it away. But everybody watched the video anyway.
Yes, do.
All right. Now we are on to... Oh, what's that?
Snowgo's Hand puts, now you're on a real handheld. I've been on a real handheld ever since I had a Vita, Snowgo's Hand. Anyway.
I'll leave all the innuendo jokes out of the real handheld discussion.
Yeah.
So the next section, I can't think of segment. There we go. The next segment of the show is usually called Game Off. This is where both Zap and I come up with a game that we think everybody should play at some point, and we compare them. You guys vote and tell us who wins. Let's take a look at last time that we played. I don't think that's right. Is that right? Is it Valkyrie Chronicles and BioShock?
I can't remember. Do you want to start afresh from this year?
Yeah,
if
sure.
that's right, I lost again, you see.
Fair enough. All right, we're going to start fresh this year. So I'm going to... Basically, Zap came up with this idea, and he said, you get 5 minutes to talk about your game. I don't think we've ever actually taken 5 minutes to talk about the game.
No.
But the game that I want to talk about is a roguelike, should come to no surprise to any of you. A roguelike game is basically a game that reinvents itself every time you play it. So if you sit down to play your game and the levels are going to be brand new every time you play, and you tend to get one life, and then when that life is dead, you pass on your inheritance, or you pass on part of the money that you earned while you were in the dungeon to your not ancestors. What would it be? Not ancestors. Ancestors are behind you. Who's in front of you?
Your next of kin.
Yeah, your kids or whatever, I guess. So you pass on your inheritance to your kin, and then they can spend that money before they go back into the dungeon, because when you go back into the dungeon, you lose all your money. So that's what a roguelike is, and the one that I'm talking about today is Rogue Legacy. Have you ever played Rogue Legacy?
No, I haven't. It looks really interesting. I've been getting into a lot of rogue-like games lately. So, yeah, any of these at the minute are really ticking my box.
All right, so the thing with Rogue Legacy is your kids, they can pick up these, I don't want to say, these traits. Like maybe they have baldness, or they're depressed, or they're dyslexic, or maybe they have endomorphism, or dwarfism, or gigantism. These are all things that are on the screen right now. The thing that is that each one of these things, they have some effect in the game. So let's say that you have, we'll say...
Tourette's.
Is that on there?
Really? Yeah, Tourette's is on there.
Oh, okay. I can't remember. Let's say you have dyslexia. You will be playing the game backwards. So when you push left, you will turn right. That kind of thing.
My head in.
Yeah, it's crazy. So you have all... This is... every time you die, you get to choose from 3, I think, of your kids, and give them your money. So you get to pick who it is that goes in. Some people have some of them have no feeling on the bottoms of their feet, so they can walk over spikes, things like that. And it's all procedurally generated. Every single time you play, it's different. As you're playing through, you upgrade your armor and your weapons, and you leave them to your kids. And this is an incredibly addictive and very, very fun game. And on Steam, it is $14.99. It is a steal at twice the price. If you want to wait for a sale, then by all means wait for a sale. But absolutely everybody should play Rogue Legacy, without a doubt.
I'm also checking for you. It's also on the PlayStation and the PS Vita. So
yes, it is on the PS Vita.
Yeah, that's a great game to pick up and go. That's what that is. That's a pick up and game. You're on a bus. You're on a bus or something, or a train. That's definitely a pick up and go game. That's awesome. Yeah,
It is, but at the
just
same time, you might get stuck on that on that bus or train because you're like, well, I got to the boss, and I'm not leaving. All right, let's hear about your game for the game off.
my game is also a 2D game, and it has a really classy little tune when you sit and look at the option screen. And it goes by the name. It's just a small game, and it's like the 2D version of Minecraft. It's Terraria. And if you haven't played Terraria, I want to know where you've been in the last few years, because this game is fantastic. Uh, it had a bit of a rocky start, and then they really pushed the boat out with it, and fantastic. You can dig, you fight, you explore. It's got bosses galore, lots of armor sets, different ways of playing with different ways you can build your character in different classes. It's a very deep, involving game. They've just done a massive patch as well. Terraria itself is just a good bit of fun. And on the PC, you can get loads of you together, and you can build this world and just go nuts in it. So yeah, there's not really much to say about Terraria except for me. It is a really, really good game, and it's cheap. Terraria is ridiculously cheap for what you get. In England, it's $6.99. It's probably about $10 for yourself
It
over
is
there.
10, and here's the really interesting thing on Steam. It's $30 for a 4-pack, so you basically buy 3 get 1 free. And this is a game you definitely want to play with people. I've had a blast playing it by myself. I can't imagine playing it with people. It'd be super fun.
The
Basically,
best
think of
weapon they ever
Minecraft
had.
in 2D, but with like
Yeah,
bosses and stuff.
yeah. And you can use a yo-yo to hit people in the face. I'm sorry,
Yes,
but that's
that's
what
like
yo-yo
one of the
is.
very first weapons you can make is the yo-yo, and it's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, the wooden yo-yo that can hit someone in the face and then roll round on the nose.
Hmm.
So yeah, Terraria is just, it's one of those games that for £7 or $10, that's far too cheap. That game
Right.
is worth so much more money when you consider what is out there and what comes out for the price tags that they do. This game is unbelievable. And there is another, there are other Terraria-like games, but nothing I don't think beats the original. So there you go.
I've bought Terraria 3 times.
Did you?
I bought it for PC. I bought it for the
Yeah.
Wii U, and I bought it for iOS. So
But to be fair, I've done the same. I bought it 4 times. I bought it for the Vita. Yeah, the Vita, Snow goes ham. Um, the PS4, my Android. I never bought it for the iPhone, and I bought it for the PC. Yeah, so I own it four or 5 times. It's amazing. It's a great game. Really, really good.
yeah. So anyway, I put the poll into chat. You guys go ahead and vote. We're going to move on to wishlisted, and we really got to get going. So we're going to go fast. The game that I put on my wish list this week is Friday the 13th. The game. This is not for squeamish people. It is really gory and awesome, and it looks like a blast. I've been watching people play it. Basically, you get a bunch of people all together. One of them plays Jason. The rest are the camp counselors, and they have to try and live while Jason is trying to murder everybody. So I'm going to cut away before that happens, because that's going to be awful. What did you add?
Horizon Zero Dawn. It's on the PS4, so take note of this game. Run Jump. This game is beautiful. It looks like it's an open world adventure style game that you're chasing metal robotic dinosaurs as a woman with a bow and arrow. It looks fantastic. I was lucky enough to have a go at it at the gaming event EGX over here. It just looks really, really good. And it's probably the first AAA title that I'm excited for this year.
Yes, this
And
is one of the reasons that I picked up, or that I wanted a PS4, is because
yeah,
this game is like a new intellectual property. It's not a sequel to anything, and it just looks really
yep.
good. It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be one of them games that you've got to play and you got to get involved in. So I'm looking forward to this. So yeah, that's my wish list of this week: Horizon Zero Dawn.
Kodiak Moonwolf in chat says that so it's a bit like Dead by Daylight. I think so. It is, but I haven't played Dead by Daylight, so I'm not sure.
Yes, Friday the 13th is like Dead by Daylight.
And I'm interested for people who've played both. Which one's better? That's what I want to know. Although Friday the 13th is currently in beta, so that's not really a fair comparison.
No, I've heard. I've got Dead by Daylight, and I kind of get a little bit kind of like how do you put it? It gets a bit tedious after a while. But it's also, when you start playing it, it's very, very good. And if they get the atmosphere right in Friday the 13th, it'll be a fantastic game.
All right. Well, anyway, that's it for us this week, you guys. If you want to support the show, you can do so with a review on iTunes. If you want to be part of the show, you can email us at runjumpstomp@gmail.com, or you can give us a call and leave a voicemail at 260-RUNJUMP. That's 260-786-5867. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube at RunJumpStomp. And Zap, where is it the people are going to find you?
At Twitch and Twitter, it's at DJ Zap. At YouTube is Django Zap.
All right. Oh, sorry. What were you saying?
Very good. No, I said I forgot where I was.
Oh, there you go. All right. So anyway, we will see you next week. Thanks for listening, watching, everything. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.